My name is Martin, and today we're going to look at the top things to watch out for in the second gen Lexus IS250, 350, and even ISF. Hello and welcome to Marty Motoring. As you may know, if you follow the channel, I have a 2007 Lexus IS350, so some of these are personal experiences, and some of them are things I heard or read online, and I figured I'd just address them. So according to carcomplaints.com, if you look up the 2007 Lexus IS, either the 250 or the 350, the biggest complaint is melting dash and door panels. Now what people mean by melting is sticky. In the hot weather, over time, the dash panels can get sticky, flake, crack, any of the above. Since it was such a big issue across multiple years of the IS, Lexus had to address this multiple times. So for an example, I submitted a claim for this right after I got the car in May 2017. I didn't get all 4 door panels and the dash installed until April of 2018. So almost a full year from when I submitted the claim. So melting interior panels are just something to watch out for on these cars, especially if you're buying used. You might want to just check with Lexus and see if that's covered. The best way to tell is just call the dealer, call multiple dealers if you have to, and just see what they can do for you. The second thing I want to address is oil consumption and leaks in some of the earlier models IS250 and 350. As with all performance vehicles, oil consumption always seems to be an issue. Some owners have reported oil leaks and oil consumption issues. It hasn't been widespread, but there are a few people talking about it. Wear and tear breaks down the seals over time, which can lead to oil leaks and oil consumption within the engine. After all, if you take the IS350 for example, it's a complex V6 in a sports sedan. Over time and with age, it probably will burn some oil. In my example, I have about 163,000 miles on the car right now, and what I did to hopefully avoid this problem is I switched to a full synthetic high mileage blend of Mobil 1. Synthetic oil doesn't break down as easily as conventional oil, and you can wait a little bit longer between oil changes. Now you don't want to wait the claimed 10 to 15,000 miles because clean oil is always best for the engine, but the synthetic does lubricate better apparently, and the high mileage blend swells the seals to prevent oil leaks. Now if you do switch to full synthetic, you don't want to go back to conventional. Same thing with the high mileage blend. If you're using a high mileage blend oil, even if it's conventional, you don't want to switch back to a non-high mileage blend. Because of the seals swelling up, if you use a regular one, they'll de-swell and then you'll have a leak, and that can lead to more oil consumption issues. For my example, I will be changing my oil about every 5,000 miles now that I switched to full synthetic high mileage blend. I will be sticking with that high mileage blend so that I can hit 200,000 miles worry free. Moving on to the next item, carbon buildup. This is everybody asks about carbon buildup. A lot of my videos, people are asking like, how's the carbon buildup? I heard these have carbon buildup issues. The IS250 is known for the carbon buildup issue because it is only direct injected and not port injected. The IS350 and ISF have port injection, which leads to less carbon buildup, unlike the IS250. All high mileage cars are going to have some sort of carbon buildup. The IS350 and the ISF don't really suffer from it as much as the 250. Originally, when I got my car, I thought it had a carbon buildup issue, but it just turned out to be the recirculating oil through the intake, just because of how the car is set up for emission laws. The oil recirculates from the crankcase back into the air intake tube and goes into the intake manifold and builds up over time, kind of like a gunky oil. To remedy that, I changed my PCV valve, I cleaned my throttle body, and it made the car run a whole lot smoother, and I did videos on both of those if you want to check them out. And I also got the RR Racing carbon fiber intake, and that lets the crankcase vent to atmosphere rather than recirculating the oil. I also made a video on that as well, so check that out. And a lot of owners will just advise the 350 over the 250 because the obvious horsepower increase, and also you don't have to worry about carbon buildup issues. So next, I want to say something on the Alternator. Just speaking from experience, I am on my second Alternator in 2 years of owning the vehicle. It seems to be a weak point. I think it could be because the alternator I had before was not a Denso OEM alternator. It was something cheap that the shop put in. And at the time, I didn't know that mattered. It failed a year and a half later, not even, and now I'm on my second one, done by the Lexus dealership with a warranty, so I should be set. You want to check when the battery was replaced as well. That's something I had to replace right away when I got my car. The IS350 and ISF have a timing chain, which is awesome. One of the awesome parts about these cars. From the factory, the IS is pretty limited on what you can adjust with alignment compared to some other cars, unless you go with an aftermarket solution like adjustable lower control arms. Another item is transmission fluid. See if it was changed, if it was serviced by the Lexus dealer. For me, my car was never changed, and I was advised by a lot of the Lexus service people that it's a lifetime fluid, and I should just not really worry about it. Don't flush it, because that can lead to more issues. Now I haven't had any issues with mine. It's been great at 163,000 miles. What I'll probably end up doing, like most people, is draining the old fluid and putting new fluid in, but not doing a full flush, because that's what causes issues. From everyone I've talked to and everything I've seen, that's the way to do it. But those are some things I thought of to check on the Lexus IS if you're buying, if you already own one, or if you just care to know about it. They're still a great model of car, with varying degrees of performance between the 250, 350, and ISF. How I know all this is just being an owner and researching for the last 2 years and trying to learn as much as I can. So what has been your experience? Have you noticed any of these things on your car? Are you looking to buy one soon and just wondering what you should look for? Hopefully this video helped, and maybe I missed something. Well, join the conversation below in the comments. If you like this video, be sure to give it a thumbs up and hit that subscribe button to support the channel. Be sure to follow me on Instagram at Marty Motoring. You can see all the latest pictures and updates there. Check out the website, martymotoring.com. And as always, leave a little rubber on the road.